you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the show, we hope you like, subscribe, and share. And go check out our Instagram page. Today's topic is going to be seniors and handguns.
Yep.
I've been getting a lot of emails on that also, amongst other topics. I thought this would be a good show to talk about, and definitely would love to hear what you guys have to think in the comments. What do you think, Instructor Paul? What are your thoughts?
I had the opportunity of training quite a few seniors. I remember training a 75-year-old lady, and she had a kind of a issue. She shaked a lot.
Yeah.
And what helped me and helped her that day was the 22.
Yeah.
Yeah, she loved that 22. She was able to do everything that I wanted her to do with the 22. Unfortunately, the 9 wasn't. She could too much for her. But why I say that is that you have to be mindful of any kind of handicap an individual, disability an individual may have, and especially as you get into the older age group of individuals, you have to be very mindful of that. So I was mindful of that. I used a 22. She didn't like the sound of the gunfire in the range, and I kind of had to put more air resistance for her. I put on the little buds that were inside, and I put on another headphone on the top, and she was good with that. I kind of regret that I didn't take her to the outdoor range where we could have had a bit more privacy. But it was good. It was good. And then I trained a few other seniors, and they didn't mind the 9mm. But the women were a little bit harder to work with because of disabilities. Some of them had some disabilities.
Well, both of us are seniors, I think, right?
I'm not senior. No, I'm not senior yet.
Okay, but
I don't want to be a senior.
You got the reading glasses, right? You got the glasses there.
I don't want to be a senior.
I know, but what I'm saying is, like you said before, you have to take into consideration everything, right? As you get older, your vision goes a little bit.
Yes.
Your hearing is not as good. Your reactions to things not as good. Like you said, the older lady jumping at listening to the other sounds in the other lanes.
Yeah.
It all depends on the individual, right? Some seniors, you can have a 70-year-old that's really got themselves together.
Yeah.
And you can have a 70-year-old that's really, and nothing bad. It can happen to any of us as we get older, right? You get older, things aren't working the same as they used to.
They're not.
Right?
No, they're not.
So you can have a 70-year-old that's just not. You have to pay special attention.
Mm-hmm.
Whether their hands are shaking, like you said, or their vision is off a little bit. I always, when I show the seniors, when I teach them, first of all, I do individual lessons first.
Yeah.
Right? Always. It's always a private lesson.
Always.
Until I get to see, how they do in the range. They love the red dots are critical for the seniors.
Yeah.
They love the red dots. When I do irons, and I'll use a 22 to start. I have a 22 also just irons, and then I have a 22 with the red dot. They love that red dot.
Mm-hmm.
They love that red dot. Once they get their stance, their grip, their trigger, their sight alignment, sight picture down, they get the regular fundamentals down. We work on that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They love it. They love it. And sometimes some of them will take some try on the 9.
Wow.
Some would like the 9, right? They go with that. Or some just say, you know what, I'm happy with this 22.
Yeah.
And I explain accuracy is important, right? But yeah, there's a weapon, there's a firearm for most people.
There is.
Okay?
There is.
Even if you're a senior, you can still have a gun and carry a gun, and a lot of seniors do.
Right.
Right?
We have to make sure the audience know we're not talking about seniors that are well seasoned in shooting. We're talking about beginners.
Right.
Seniors that have never shot before.
Good point.
And they
Great
want to
point.
shoot.
Right. There's seniors that we know that are in their 70s that are savages.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They're absolute savages. I've taken lessons and have been on range days with seniors in their low 70s, mid 70s, right? So a few who are just, they're ridiculous. But for the senior who is a beginner and really doesn't have a lot of experience shooting, maybe they shot 15 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever it was. These are beginners, and then they don't recognize that, hey, I'm a little older now, and my body parts and my vision, everything's not working the same. But you know what? You put that 22 in their hand, okay, and and they're happy about it. They can actually use it.
Yeah.
You know,
I knew one lady. She liked the 380. She loved it.
Yep, 380. You know, we don't talk about that.
No.
We don't talk about that enough.
Yeah,
380.
it's good
It's a
gun.
great round.
Great
Stronger than the
round,
22.
Yeah.
Recoil is not bad at all.
No.
Great, phenomenal gun for the senior.
For the senior.
I agree with you, but for those seniors that can handle, I would recommend a full size gun, not like a micro 9. If you're going to go with a 9,
Oh yeah.
a lot of them. Well, not to really to conceal, right? A lot of them want them in their house.
In their houses,
right?
yes.
As a bedside gun in their drawer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't want that smaller gun. Wouldn't you agree? You want that bigger, full-size gun. It can be more accurate. It's easier to shoot.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but there's guns for everybody, unless you have a real debilitating issue. Doesn't matter really how old you are. You can shoot a gun, right?
Oh,
seniors can shoot a gun, whether it's a 22, 380, 9. It all depends.
It all depends.
You know what I mean?
And you know, another thing we need to let our audience know, especially as seniors out there, if you don't like guns, there's other things that you can use to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, and we've done shows on that. So just be mindful of that. You don't have to carry a gun if you don't want one as a senior. But there are things that you can buy to help to protect yourself.
And don't think for a second that, oh, I'm too old to carry a gun.
Right.
I can't carry a gun. Yes, you can.
You can.
It's scary for every new beginner. Any beginner, it's scary. Okay, but once you practice and get used to it, that fear eventually subsides.
Yeah.
Okay, and you get more and more comfortable with it and more confident, and that's normal.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't be scared. It just takes practice. Get yourself a good instructor to teach you.
Perfect, yeah.
And you practice, and sooner or later, those scary feelings will eventually subside.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you. Yes.
What age would either of you, if someone comes to you, what age would you cut? What do you say? Nah, I don't think it's wise to get to train with firearm. Is there any age?
If it's a younger adult and they have some sort of disability, yeah, I think it could be a problem depending on how they behave and how they move.
Mentally, yeah.
Same with an older person. If I see them, they're shaking, they can't walk very well, they're struggling. Yeah, I might not recommend it. I don't want them to get themselves hurt. No. Depends. It really depends on what the situation is. You know.
I personally, with me, I would try to talk a little bit more about the safety procedures of a firearm. You know, as we go through those safety classes that we do.
Yeah.
I would focus a lot on that. And then I would be mindful of how they shoot if I do take them back in the range. But I always try to give everybody the opportunity that if they want to shoot or they want a gun, they can have one, or at least know how to use a firearm. The only issue that I would personally have is if I felt that they had some kind of mental issue, then that would maybe be a no-no for me. But when it comes to physicalness, I think there's ways around it. I had a guy that I was teaching, and he was in his late 60s, early 70s, and he had arthritis in his hands. So he couldn't hold the gun that tight. And I was able to work around that a little bit with him. And at the end of the lesson, he really enjoyed it. So there's ways of being able to work around certain things. But like I said before, when it comes to the mental aspect of it, if you're starting to mentally decline, I'm kind of weary with that.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. You're right. I didn't bring it up. Mental.
Yeah.
You know, different mental state. Right. What kind of mental state are they in? Right.
Yeah.
That's very, very important.
Yeah.
You know. So, I agree with you. Anyway, everyone, thank you. We hope you enjoyed our show. Please leave some comments. Let us know what you think. Love to hear your thoughts. Give us some suggestions of shows that you might be interested in hearing. And thank you so much.